Alright guys, so welcome back for another video. We're back at it again at Quintero Golf Club with Paige here. So thanks for being out here today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So right now we're actually at their practice game facility, which looks awesome. They have some bunkers laid out here and a couple of pins. So we're going to go ahead and kind of show you guys some different shots that we play. We did notice playing that our chipping styles are a little bit the same.
Yeah. I asked her, I was like, what do you normally chip with? She's like, a 54. And she's like, what do you chip with? I was like, a 54. So we'll try to mix it up a little bit here and show you how you can hit different shots. I think that these shots are really intimidating for a lot of amateur golfers, especially off of a tight lie where there's not much green to work with. More experienced players will probably take the shot that Paris is going to do. Where you're going to hit a little bit higher. It takes a little bit more touch and feel to just clip it right. And then the shot I'm going to show you is probably for more of a beginner, or if they're a little insecure around the greens. It's just a shot that is really easy and simple, and really nothing can go wrong with it. Show us the high shot that you do, and kind of like walk us through like what you do, and in tournaments, like, is this what you do, like, as well, too?
Right.
Like, what shot would you normally do here?
So depending on how I'm chipping that day, obviously a 54 or something a little lower might be a little safer. I like my 58 right now. The lie is a little thin, but the ball's sitting up, which is nice. So that's definitely one thing I look at too, is definitely my lie first.
How would you hit it differently if it is sitting up compared to if maybe it's sitting down a little bit more?
Right, so if it's sitting down, I mean, I'm such a feel player though, I definitely kind of want to make sure I kind of clip the ball first. I think that's important. I feel like if the ball's sitting down, it's kind of easy to chunk or something like that, which I'm sure we all know. So, but since the ball's sitting up here, you can definitely use the bounce of the club to your advantage and kind of work through that too. Even though I'm kind of going high and soft, I do still want to make sure I have good contact, so I am going to put the ball a little bit farther back in my stance. I feel like if you're just center, you know, you can kind of either like get a little handsy with it or something like that. Obviously this is a shot where you really want to keep your hands in front of the ball and, you know, make sure you're coming through the shot the entire way. So I'm going to keep the ball in the back of my stance here and hopefully just get good contact. And I will leave the face just open, obviously, as we want to get that high and soft shot up there. And then one more thing with weight, like distribution, I like to put a lot of it forward. That way I'm not coming off the ball, and that can just, I don't know, you could hit it thin, I think, when you
lean back on it.
Right, lean back on it. You can hit it thin, get too handsy there. I definitely make sure that like all my weight is forward, back ball position, open club face, and then go.
Okay, that looks pretty good.
I don't think people realize like how important it is to have the ball position in the right spot for all the different shots that you have, and also like where your weight needs to be, because if you do have it too far forward, that changes everything, or if you have it too far back, and you do have to change it for every shot around. And like setup is like the most important thing. It's the most basic, but if you have a great setup with your ball position, your grip, and where your weight needs to be, it's kind of trial and error really, because I feel like we can tell you where to put it, but a lot of it is also kind of personal preference, especially with short game. And so even though we may say ball back or ball forward, for you to hit it higher, maybe ball forward is what you need to do, or even like ball back so you get better contact. The biggest thing for short game is just practice, especially like we're both field players, and so like it's harder for us to explain how we do it because our minds don't work through things that way, where it's like, okay, I need to go here and I need to take it back to 9 o'clock and my arms are straight, and it's we don't think about it that way. And there's nothing wrong if you are that way or if you are a field player. It's just it's very different. And so like for us, like when I go up to a chip shot, and I'm sure you're the same way, I don't even think about what my technique is. I think about what shot I want to do, and just muscle memory kind of goes into all of those positions. And it's just from like time
and trial and error.
Like just hours and hours of practice around the green and seeing how the ball reacts. And that is, I think, the best advice that we could possibly give, is that you need to spend those hours on the short game area and seeing how the ball reacts, because like I was saying, you can have a basic chip shot, but if you move it back in your stance, if you move it forward, if you do weight forward or weight, you know, it's just straight on, club open, club shut, it's really going to affect the ball and like how it reacts, how it spins when it hits the green, how it rolls out. And so when you get up to a shot, you don't want to be unsure about how you're hitting it. And so you need those like hours of practice to know, like when I set up to it, how I want it to react and the shots I want to hit. Because with short game, you can hit the shot a billion different ways, and I'll show you another way now how to hit it. But that's like what's so great about short game, and I love short game because like there are so many different possibilities that you can do. But it's also very daunting because there are so many other ways that you can hit a shot, and it's like, how do I pull that shot off? So it's always finding the shot that has the easiest for you, the one you have the most confidence with, and also like one you've practiced the most too. And so sometimes I'll see people just like take a hybrid out, and I'm like, have you done that before? And they're like, nope, no, I'm just gonna try it now. Like, don't try things on the course you've never practiced, but always stick to something that's really comfortable to you, even if it is something that might not be the right shot to hit. So maybe you are here and you practice your hybrid shot all the time, and hybrid's the shot you want to play the hybrid or putt it or do whatever you want to do, but just like do what you think you need to do to get it the closest, not care like what people think or what you know they're gonna say about your shot. Paris just did the higher shot, which is probably the shot that you would want to play more often, but even for an experienced player, it's a difficult shot to pull off because you do have to clip it. Especially, I mean, this isn't too bad, but when it gets really tight, it can be a very scary shot. And like I was saying earlier, you just don't want to compound your problems. And so if you can get it on the green within 5 to 10 feet, that's always a better play than maybe blading it or chunking it or having to hit a second chip shot. So always pick something that you feel very comfortable with. So I'm going to show you more of a bump and run shot, and I'm going to use it with a 9 and a 7 iron. I'll do the 9 first. For this shot, I like to have a more of a narrow stance, weight forward, choke down a little bit, more than you would normally with your wedge because it is a bit of a longer club. So you choke down, weight forward, and this one is no hands at all, maybe just a small wrist cock, but as you saw with Paris when she was hitting her high shot, she had a big wrist cock, and she kind of said not to be handsy, but you do kind of want to throw your hands through it to get that spin and to get it up in the air. But what she meant by not being handsy is when you throw it too soon or you lift up with it. So for this shot, it's kind of the opposite, where you just want to almost feel, I do this drill a lot where I put a towel underneath my arms, and you don't want the towel to fall, and that's kind of the feeling you want to get here, where you feel very connected, and all you do is turn back and turn through. I see a lot of people when they hit this shot, they turn through on their back foot. When you turn on your back foot, you're going to end up hitting it thin and lifting up on it, or hitting it fat behind it. So you want to make sure you kind of have this motion where your weight is on the front, and all you do is turn through and your knees touch. That's basically it. Like, it's a very small, easy movement. With your arms, all you do is just back through. Another thing I like to tell people to do is practice swings. And you can either put a tee in the ground or pick a spot, but you want to brush the ground every single time in the same spot. If you can't do that, then you're not going to find solid contact when you hit a chip shot. So it might seem very simple and easy, but a lot of people actually struggle with this, and I'll see it back here, I'll see it up here, or they won't even just take any divot at all or brush the grass. So this is a good drill just to kind of get solid contact. When you hit a shot with less loft, for a shot like this, where I would say, I usually, in my mind, I try to break it up between like how much grass is there between how much green there is. For this one, I would say it's probably 90% grass, 10% green. Since there is so much grass and you're hitting it lower, you're gonna have to bounce it into the grass before you get into the green. So, and that's not a bad thing. So you have to find your spot and almost imagine, if it was all green, where would I want to land it? But since you are in the fairway, it's not going to roll out as much. You might need to carry it a little bit farther since the grass is a little bit thicker, but you will have to land it in the fairway. If you land this shot on the green, it's going to roll forever since there's really no loft at all on this club.
Well, that looked pretty good.
And if you are still unsure about hitting a 9-iron, maybe you don't want to do that. I have seen people do this shot. I don't do this shot that much from a long ways. I do it a little bit shorter, but it's called the Putt Chip. So basically you have a very de-lofted club like a 5-iron, a 7-iron. You can use your hybrid for this shot, but basically you get in your putting stance, you take your putting grip, move a little bit closer to it, and you just hit a putt. It's really easy, very simple. It's like you're basically putting the shot, but since you have just a little bit of loft, it's going to get it up in the air, because if you do putt this, it's going to just get stuck right away. So you'll be able to carry it off, but it will still run, and it's really easy to get solid contact here, and especially when you're on a course that has, you know, a pretty tight lie and firm, fast greens, this is a great shot that you can do, because it is basically just like a putt. You read it as like it's a putt, you play it as like it's a putt, your setup is a putt, and so most people feel very confident with this. This one, however, does take a little bit more practice because you have to hit it a little bit harder than you think you have to, because for a normal putt you would never probably take it back this far, but for this one, since there is a little bit of loft, you are going to have to take it a little bit farther back.
Okay.
So even though it wasn't the best turnout, most people will take that all day long, and sometimes that is the best option out of maybe hitting it high where you wouldn't even get on the green. So I also be realistic with where your game is, and sometimes just getting it on the green is a win. And so don't always think that you have to hit it within 5 feet, a foot, a couple inches, whatever it may be, because you see the pros do that. That's when problems happen, because you try to, you know, hit too cute of a shot or try something that isn't going to work out. So like, be realistic and know like, okay, I don't really feel confident with this shot. Getting it on the green is the best that I can do. And don't get down on yourself when it's not exactly as close as you want it to. Like, you really do have to manage your expectations with short game if you are a beginner, and be smart about the shots that you play. So I hope you guys enjoyed our chipping tutorial. We showed you a couple different ways you can hit the same shot. We talked about being creative. We talked about focusing on the basics, and also just having confidence and practice. Practice is the big thing. Get out there, practice your short game. That's the best tip I can always give someone. Do not spend hours on the driving range. Take that time and put it into your short game, because it's also going to help your full swing as well. It was fun to see how you thought about a shot and how I hit it differently, and like all the tips that you gave for that.
Yeah, there's so many ways that you can chip around the green, and definitely opened my eyes to the 7-iron and your 9-iron. But we were kind of talking like the 9-iron especially, it worked out really well for her, but you know, we were like, honestly, that's not a shot that we play all the time. But it just goes to show, you know, everybody does kind of like to see the high and soft shot, but that's not always the best play. It definitely worked out a little bit better for her than the high and soft shot worked out for me. So that was definitely eye-opening and good to see. But yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to subscribe to Paige's channel as well. Thank you for joining us here at Quintero, and we'll see you soon for another vlog. Bye.